My stepmother didn't scream when she told me to leave. That would have been easier. She simply stood in the garage doorway while rain poured behind her and said, "Get out of my house." Her voice was calm, almost casual. There was no anger, no hesitation, no regret. I looked at my father, hoping for the smallest sign that he would step forward, that he would remind her I was his daughter, that he would say this wasn't happening. But he just stood there with his hands in his pockets, staring at the concrete floor. That was the moment I understood something I had spent years refusing to accept. He wasn't going to choose me. So I picked up the duffel bag she had thrown at my feet, walked into the cold Florida rain, and left the only home I had ever known. I was 17 years old. I had no idea where my life would go next, but I made myself one promise. I would never again beg someone to make room for me in their life. Years later, when that same family showed up at my office asking for money, they expected to find the scared teenager they had abandoned. They didn't expect to meet the woman she became. Before the awards, the company, and the confidence people saw when they looked at me, I was just a girl trying to survive a house that no longer felt like home. My mother died when I was 12. One morning she was in the kitchen humming while making pancakes. By that afternoon, she was gone because of a brain aneurysm no one saw coming. The house changed overnight. The rooms felt bigger. The silence felt heavier. My father and I tried to continue living normally. We ate frozen dinners. We washed clothes. We pretended we weren't drowning in the emptiness she left behind. For a while, it was just the two of us. My father worked at an auto shop. He came home smelling like motor oil, tired but still trying. Sometimes he would ruffle my hair and tell me, "You're stronger than you." No, I believed him. I needed to believe him. Then he met Frances. She was a waitress with sharp hazel eyes and a smile that always seemed carefully practiced. She moved into our house quickly. A courthouse wedding, 3 suitcases, a cat that immediately claimed my mother's old rocking chair. At first, Frances acted kind. She organized the pantry. She cleaned closets. She talked about creating a fresh start, but slowly, she stopped acting like she was joining our family. She started acting like she was replacing it. Frances became responsible for every dollar in the house. She questioned every receipt, every purchase, every grocery item. If I poured myself a glass of milk, she noticed. If I bought something extra at the store, she asked why. My father saw it happening, but he was tired. And instead of protecting me, he chose the easier path. He stayed quiet. I tried everything to make things work. I cleaned the house. I folded laundry. I babysat neighbors' children and handed over the money I earned. I kept my grades high because I thought maybe success would make them proud. My report cards filled the refrigerator. Straight A's. Achievements. Proof that I was trying. But Frances would simply tap the paper and say, "Good, college isn't cheap." My father would smile weakly, then look at her before saying anything, almost like he needed permission to be proud of me. By the time I was 16, I knew every mood change in that house. I could tell when Frances was about to criticize me by the way she walked into a room. Money became her favorite weapon. Every grocery trip became an interrogation. She would hold receipts like evidence.